Hi, I'm Peter Reinhardt, and welcome to the Johnson & Wales International Symposium on Bread. I'm coming to you from the Hance Auditorium in Charlotte, North Carolina, where we've held the last 4 bread symposiums, and as you can see, there's nobody here but me. And this is where we usually have it. The seats are all empty because this year, thanks to you, the symposium will be presented online, virtually, in our new presentation hall, which is where I will join you in just a minute. Thank you, and thanks for being part of our new virtual Johnson & Wales International Symposium on Bread, presented by Puratos. Welcome again. Throughout the entire symposium, I'll be thanking our generous sponsors over and over again, and ask that you do as well by visiting their booths and pavilions in the exhibitor hall. There you will see lots of bonus content, and you can also make appointments to meet with the folks from these companies that serve our baking community so well. Our presenting sponsor is Puratos, who has partnered with us from the very beginning for all of our symposiums, and it is their support that helped us get this one-of-a-kind gathering of thought leaders off the ground. Please also visit our fabulous flour and milling sponsors, Ardent Mills, Lindley Mills, and Central Milling. Thank you also to our equipment sponsors, the WP Bakery Group and Allied Bakery and Food Service Equipment. And thank you also to our specialty food product companies, Probiotine, FireWithin, Big Green Egg, and Mock Mill. Please check out all of their booths to learn about their wonderful and unique products. And also thanks to our media sponsors, Cook's Country, The Local Palate, the James Beard Foundation, and the Bread Bakers Guild of America. You'll be hearing more about all of them throughout the entire series of presentations. So again, thank you to all our sponsors. At the end of today's presentation, you will also see our credit scroll, thanking all of the people behind the scenes who made this event possible, including our production and technical partner, Ganoid Communications, our creative team at Gumbo Marketing, and the many folks at Johnson & Wales University, our hosts for this, our 4th annual gathering. So stick around, if you will. But now, it's time to get things rolling with today's presentation, so let's go live. And once again, welcome to the Johnson & Wales International Symposium on Bread, presented by Puratos. And we are live once again. And welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I know it's a holiday weekend for many of you, the extended weekend, and hopefully maybe there's more of you today as a result. But if not, you can catch us on the in the archives, because we'll be recording everything today, as always, and make it available to you. A couple of announcements before we get into today's program. First of all, we've been receiving a request for the PowerPoint slide presentation from Professor Michael Gonsley on sourdough fermentation, bacteria, and all the things that he presented. We finally found that. He sent it to me a while ago. I just finally found the file and forwarded it on to our team. And we should have that posted in the archive section soon. But we did find it, so keep checking back in the archives, and I'll let you know maybe by Wednesday. I'll have another update on that, but hopefully it'll be up and available by then. Others have been asking questions like, if I watch the recording later, will the Q&As be available visibly to me in the chats and all of that? That, I don't know. I have a question into our team. We're going to find out. I'm guessing no. I'm guessing that probably the chats don't get recorded, but who knows? And I'll find out soon enough. So those of you who are joining us live have the advantage of being able to ask questions and to see some things that are posted in the chats. For instance, today's guest, Chef Frank Murphy, will be sharing his contact info, and I'll probably do it in the chat room. So, you get that advantage. If not, you can always get anybody who's a speaker is also registered for the symposium. so you can track down their contact info through the dashboard, and you can just put their name in the attendees list, and it should bring up all that pertinent contact info. Let's see, Wednesday, remind you to come back Wednesday. We have Chef Shai Farjan who's going to do a demo on how to make kasha puri on a big green egg on a grill. And it should be pretty exciting. I've seen some snippets of it, of the video. He made a video and he's going to be there live also. And it looks gorgeous, looks beautiful. You're going to want to learn how to make these if you don't already know. And then next Monday, come back again Monday for, this is one that we've been talking about for a long time. And I imagine that the presentation that we're going to see next week will be different than the version that we would have seen last year when it was scheduled to originally be presented on the Mission to Mars baking project. And so Serge Amaya will be here and with the latest updates, and we'll get caught up with what's going on with baking bread in outer space. So that's next Monday. And then following on Wednesday, which is July 14th, Michael Calante will be here. So Michael, if you're watching today, remember that you're next Wednesday, a week from Wednesday, and you're going to be doing a presentation and a demo on prebiotic bread. And I'll let you go look in the on the homepage at the rest of the schedule to see the events that are still coming throughout the rest of the summer and into fall. But these are the most immediate ones. This weekend is usually our every other week newsletter will go out an email. We'll go to everybody, just reminders of things that are coming up. Okay, I think that's all the preliminaries. Yeah, I think that's everything. And so let me introduce our guest for today, Chef Frank Murphy, who normally would be coming to us from North Bend, Oregon, where he teaches, but today, due to the magic of Zoom, is coming to us from his homeland from Ireland. Are you in Dublin today, Chef?
Yeah, I'm in Dublin, and it's a little overcast. It was really nice earlier. So yeah, just actually I had a little glass of Guinness today. So
A little Guinness. So some of the overcast could be the Guinness too, the cloudiness.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
But did you get out of Oregon before the big heat wave, or did you get to experience some of that when you were there, when it was happening?
I actually flew out the morning that it started, so I just missed it.
So you didn't get the brunt of it. But
No.
well,
my wife, we live on the coast, and it's usually cool, and she said she was having some beautiful weather. So
oh
I can only imagine that the rest of the state was baking if that was the
yeah,
problem.
the ocean protected you a little bit there.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, welcome, Chef. And I know that you've got a video that you made with your team. You have a whole production division at the school where you teach, and you guys put together a professional level video. So I'm going to turn this over to you. You're going to tell us a little bit about the Blazing Bulldog, and that's what today's presentation is about. Is this incredible program that you're running that is really transforming and changing lives, where you live, and maybe we'll get on the road. So we want to hear all about that. So why don't you go ahead and set up the video for us, and then we'll come back afterwards and we'll talk some more, for as long as time allows. Okay. And anybody else who's watching while the video is running, if you want to put in any Q&A, I'll be collecting questions for Chef Frank, and also you can communicate via the chat. But Chef, it's all yours.
Well, welcome everybody. Let's see. It goes back about 10 years. Actually, this September, I'll be at the school 10 years, and I was trained in Ireland. The video is going to tell you all about that. That will start here very soon. But let me just want to say one thing to you. Like chefs, bakers, pastry chefs, we have a gift, and it's not just doing food and making food for people. With our gift, we're able to make people smile. And if you think of all the catering events that you do, or your store, whatever you're giving people, and you see them smile for a second, you don't know that you probably have changed their day. We don't know what happened to somebody 5 minutes ago, or half an hour ago, or an hour ago, or whatever. They might have been having a really crappy day, and they just had a bit of our food, and it made a change. I never thought about it like that before, and this was back about 5 years ago, 6 years ago. We had a principal, and he said to me one day in the corridor, he said, "Hey, Chef, you can change people's day. You can make people smile." And I say, well, what do you mean by that? And he said, just think. And I was racking my brain trying to think about what did he mean? What did he mean? What did he mean? And a couple of days went by, and I said, look, went over to him. And I said, hey, what were you trying to tell me? And he said, well, you have food. And you realize that every time you give something to somebody, it makes them smile, and they might forget about their worries and stuff for that split second. And that's like a gift. And I thought of it and I said, well, it is true. It is true. So I guess we have little superpowers. So use them, make people smile and change their ways. I'm hoping that you enjoy the video here. And I can easily say that I've worked in a lot of places. I used to teach in a culinary school in Florida, and I worked restaurants and you name it, all that sort of stuff for the last 40 years, I guess. And this last 10 years has been the best job I ever had. And being able to impact kids. And then an oven came along, a wood-fired oven, and it changed a lot of people and a lot of lives. So with that, if we can, let's run the video.
All right.
At first glance, you might not know what this is, or why it's rolling down the road. This guy jogging down the road with his dog is trying to figure it out too. We'll get into exactly what this is in a moment. There's an old saying someone said, food can be a vehicle for social change. It brings people together in a way that very few activities can. I believe there's truth to that old saying. After all, we're all foodies. We all eat. There's something profoundly satisfying about making and sharing a meal, eating together, breaking bread together. It's one of the oldest and most fundamentally unifying of human experiences. Now let's get back to what this thing is and why it's rolling down some back road somewhere on the Oregon coast. This is the Concessionaire, the best-selling wood-fired oven on the planet. Its overall length is 12 foot 4 inches long, it's almost 7 feet tall, has a 48-inch hearth, has 25 square feet of storage under the oven. It's got leveling jacks, rubber shock-mounted lights. It exceeds federal highway safety standards. Its optimal cooking temperature is 650 degrees on the deck, and it will cook a large pizza in 90 seconds. That's 60 to 70 pizzas per hour. This is truly a thing of beauty. If you haven't had pizza cooked in a wood-fired oven, then you haven't had good pizza. But what does all this have to do with anything? Let me introduce you to someone first. Meet Frank Murphy. Born in Dublin, Ireland, he started his culinary career in 1982 and eventually made his way across the pond working in award-winning hotels and restaurants in the United States. He is now the culinary arts teacher at North Bend High School in the small town of North Bend, Oregon. And recently he was recognized as Educator of the Year by the Bay Area Chamber of Commerce. Chef Murphy, he had an idea.
So I was trying to come up with a program or bring something in that gave my classes a bit of a panache, something a little different. I also needed to be able to raise money for my program. Our budget was pretty low, and I knew that when I took over this culinary program here at North Bend High School. And I had thought, well, I can do some catering. I did a lot of catering in my life. I had a restaurant beforehand, and I just decided to move that catering into the school. But we needed to bring something else in. So I'd been thinking a few years previous, when I had my little cafe, of adding a wood-fired oven. And I just couldn't make it happen at the time. But it went back in the back of my mind, and I was kind of letting it sit there. And I was sitting here in this kitchen. It wasn't quite like the same it is now, but it was sitting here trying to figure out different things. And we have a little garden outside. So I thought, well, maybe I could just build a wood-fired oven out there. I had built one at home and I had just finished it. And I thought, man, the kids would kind of like that. Didn't cost too much money. I'm sure I could get some of the other teachers to help me and stuff. And then got an opportunity. We got a grant, a State Pathways Funds grant, and it was for about $45,000. And it was to bring in some new stuff in. Totally unexpected. It was a new grant. We didn't even have to fill out anything for it. It was just like, got an email to say that I had $45,000. So I started thinking, what am I going to do with this? And back in the back of my mind, the wood-fired oven started popping in. In the research that I've done, I realized, hey, the kids would love it. Wood fire, pizza, the dough, learning how the dough, the sauces, all that sort of stuff, the running of it. I was kind of thinking that would be a great program to have. My only issue was trying to convince our administration to go with it. And Jake will tell you, they thought I was kind of crazy for a while. He told me that they were talking among themselves, thinking I'd gone off the wall, wanted to spend $30-something thousand on a wood-fired oven, a mobile wood-fired oven.
You want to spend how much on a wood-fired pizza oven? So our chef Frank Murphy came to the administration with what we thought at the time was a harebrained idea about buying a pizza oven for $30,000 in a small school district with a small budget. And everybody was obviously scared right at first, but looking back at it, he had a vision that none of the rest of us had, and it has been one of the coolest things to happen in our community.
I called FireWithin and ended up talking to Ajay Dharma, and he was like really enthused about it. He was like, hey, let's make this happen. This could be a good thing. He was probably seeing the educational part of it before I even seen it. This oven arrived, and I had in my mind the things that I was going to be able to do with it. Obviously, I was going to be able to teach the students all about dough and stuff, and they could see it right to the end and see the finished product. I was thinking, if we do business with it, they'll learn all the business parts and the food and stuff, or the money part of it, dealing with customers. And I was kind of, had worked all that out, and I knew where I could do my lessons and everything like that. But the part that I didn't quite get that never entered my mind when I was looking at this was the actual impact it had with a large slice of our population here in the school. They're all teenagers. And if you stop and think for a minute, you have pizza and you have fire. What teenager doesn't like both of those? And in my culinary classes, I already had quite a few of our student body that they weren't too keen on math and English and science and stuff. They loved culinary because it was hands-on, and they loved learning it. But they weren't so keen on going to those other classes. And it was always a struggle to keep them in school. When I would look at the attendance thing, they were in my classes, but they were skipping for a lot of the other classes. So what seemed to happen then was they got into this oven. And we started doing some little catering jobs. Some of them were just in the school here. And then we started going out further around the town and the county and so. And if they came out and did a catering job, you would see them light up. It was the oddest thing. These are kids that nobody's ever said, you did a good job. Nobody's ever gave them a pat on the back. They're usually in trouble. But now they weren't in trouble. When they come into my room, they leave their baggage outside and they come in here and they can relax. So when they got out there with that oven, I just seen them light up. When you have a person come up to them and say, that was wonderful pizza, nobody's ever said that to them before. They'd smile, they'd look for me, they'd look at me and go, wow.
One of the greatest benefits that we've seen from the pizza oven is the way it draws kids in from a big variety of backgrounds. Kids that maybe don't participate in sports or in clubs or don't have anything else at the high school that they can cling on to. They can build a community around the pizza oven, and it really has a way of building confidence in the kids. They can produce something that impresses all kinds of people, and they all have their niche, and they feel that family and the community around the pizza oven, and it really makes it, you can see how it changes those kids and changes them as people and as students.
So if we want kids to be successful in school and achieve their goals, they've got to have goals, and they've got to feel engaged with something at school. For some it's athletics, for some it's the academics or the performing arts. Chef Murphy's program provides another group of students and students from all other groups to find a way to connect and be engaged with each other as peers and with an instructor through Chef Murphy and with our community through the Pizza Oven's service to football games and through catered events. And this has led to an increase in student retention towards graduation. So students that might have fallen into a category where they were at risk to leave school before they graduated in the past are staying in large in our school, and we're able to tie that directly to involvement in our CTE programs and in Chef Murphy's culinary program with the pizza oven and catering business.
I had this student, every time I think of the beginning part, I just laugh, and I would fire him every day. He had quite a mouth on him. He didn't want to be told what to do. He would come in, sometimes he'd be 2 minutes in the door and I'd have fired him and he'd be back out the door. Couldn't go to the office or anything, but I would tell him, get outside. Sometimes I would I would shout at him. I'd say, get out of my kitchen. And this would go on. It went on and on and on. And I was sure he was going to give up. I just wanted to turn him around, but I had to fire him. But I brought him back every day. It was a new, the water went under the bridge, whatever. But it was a new day. And he would come in. He might last 5 minutes. He might last 1 minute. The odd time he'd last almost to the end of class. And this went on. And he came and he did a little catering with us, but it was the same thing. He'd always do something to mess up. And, but then one day he comes to me and he says, I got to change. I got to change. So he starts and he gets through class and he's doing the catering part, and he's getting involved with the pizza. And that really got him caught. And he graduates. He comes to me at graduation. He looks me up. I can remember this, just, they're all coming out and he stops and he gives me this big hug. This little kid almost strangled me with a hug. And he says, thank you, chef, because if you hadn't fired me all of those times, I would never have graduated. If I didn't get involved with those catering gigs, if I didn't get involved with that wood-fired oven, I would not have graduated. I don't know where I would be now. He went on to culinary school. He's working in some nice restaurants. And he texts me and he sends me pictures all the time of the food that he's done. And there's plenty more stories just like that. So when our students work with the wood-fired oven, there are the obvious skills that you come up with, right? So we make the dough from scratch. We make our sauce from scratch. We do our sausage. We do salamis. We can, our pepperonis. We do all the prep work. We set up the oven. We put up all our canopies. We make everything look professional. They check each other on their uniforms. They check how everything looks. They learn to toss pizzas. They learn to take money. They learn to take orders from people for whatever they want. They learn how to put together the menu and change the menu around. But the biggest thing, I think, is the confidence. So we got these kids who never had a pat on their back, who kind of struggle, and now they stand tall. Their shoulders are up, their heads up. They can talk about the oven. They got a smile on their face, and they can talk to a customer and tell them about the oven. And they have pride in that oven. They help each other. They train each other. When some kid goes to start off for the first time, they might just be cutting the pizzas and putting them into boxes. They're not taking the money, they're not taking the orders, they're not making the pizzas, they're not running the oven. But they're there. But they're also getting thank yous. We've got people patting them on the back and saying, great pizza, you see them light up. And then they come to me and they say, chef, when's the next one? I want to do this again. I want to earn my Blazing Bulldog's jacket. So they have to work about 14 hours out in the field to earn that jacket, and it's become like a coveted item. These kids that don't belong as such. If you look at the student body, you have the football players, you have the soccer players, you have the music program, you've got the metal shop kids, you've got all of these cliques that are on. But we have a lot of kids that are not belong to any of these cliques. They've kind of fallen through the cracks. And quite a few of those are the ones that are struggling. And that's where this oven comes in. It seems to catch those kids. And they get out there, they start to work, their peers are training them. Their peers are telling them to get off their phone, take their headphones out of their ears, etc. They police each other. But it's a community member who goes and pats them on the back and says, brilliant pizza, loved it. And see a smile on that person's face. And then you see the smile on that kid's face. And you know that you have them hooked now. And now they belong. But to be part of it, they need to be in school. They need to stay in school. And they're willing to go to their math classes and their English classes and stuff. They'll tell me how if they're doing better. I don't tell them that you have to have an A to be able to come down here. No, you don't. If you can just go to those classes and pass, then you're welcome here. So CTE programs, I think are the key. We have these sections, I said, of students, across. Some students are destined to go to college and go on to be engineers or whatever they want to be. But we have plenty of kids who want the hands-on stuff, who want to look and maybe become chefs or become metalworkers or into construction trade. We also have programs in CT that maybe set them up for other careers, that get them kind of thinking about it. Our graphic arts, our medical programs. And we're setting up and opening up doors and getting their minds to realize that they can, there's so many careers out there, and there's something for them. And a school that doesn't have a CTE program, a robust CTE program, I think is failing their students.
On this particular day, Chef Murphy got up at 4 a.m. and was at the school by 5 a.m. He had a long day planned with his students, a test run, so to speak, to get the kids prepared for the next event. In recent years, our public education across our great country has gotten a bad rap. But let me remind you, there are teachers that really care, and they're trying real hard to make a difference. Many teachers like Chef Murphy are not only doing the best jobs they can, they do their jobs quite well. Rumor has it there was a staff meeting during the beginning of this school year in which a rookie first-year teacher asked Chef Murphy, "What advice can you give me for a first-year teacher?" Chef Murphy replied, "Well, I'll just let you hear it in his own words."
Listen to the kids, watch, learn from them. Don't give up on them. Don't be too serious with them. Treat them with respect and be positive all the time. If you're positive with them, they will step up to the plate.
All this talk about pizza. Let's go get some pizza.
And I think we're back. Wow. No, great film. Great film. Well, I want to hear more about just even the the people from the school who put that together, because I know you got now the sort of production department. I don't know if it's a class or what, but first of all, just let me just say, it seemed to me that my most enduring takeaway from this will be the look on your face of satisfaction and fulfillment in what you're doing. Would you say that that's a good read on what this project has meant to you?
Yeah, as I said at the beginning, it's probably the best job I ever had. And any of you guys out there, if you are, in that part of life when maybe kitchens and bakeries and all that sort of stuff is getting a little you just can't keep up. You're not young anymore. Look into maybe getting into CTE and getting into a school. It's not that hard. Every state's a little different, but and every country. This isn't just something for the US. This could be in Ireland. This could be in England. It could be in the US. It could be anywhere. And we have that ability as chefs, as bakers and stuff. We can make people smile, and we can change kids' lives. And I could go on about telling lots and lots of stories about these kids. It's a very rewarding thing. CTE means career and technical education. And generally that's the word that's used in the US. But, it's like you get to meet these kids, and food makes them open up to you, and you hear different things that you hear. Some of them don't have the best of lives, and you can help them. They may not open up to a counselor and something. They come to you. Food, teenagers, food. That's the only thing not the only thing they think about, but food is part of it.
Yeah.
And if you can go and help, and then you're going to set them up, and maybe they graduate. Or as I think, I don't even look at graduation. If I can keep them in one extra day in school, they have learned something more, and then they will be a better person. And that's all it is. It's about getting little education, give them some skills. In my classes, I don't talk to the kids about, they don't get recipes. Well, they do get recipes, I guess, for breads and pastries and stuff, but the other classes, no. I teach them methods, how to make a cream soup, how to use a knife, how to saute, how to simmer, how to boil, how to poach, how to steam. It's all how to. I don't want to give them a piece of paper that's got a picture on there. Like I tell them this is very beginning when they come to my class. I say, hey, when you go to art, did they give you a piece of paper with a picture on it and numbers? And they say, no, I say, well, that's what I do here. I don't give you a recipe. To me, a recipe is a piece of paper with picture and numbers. I want to make you to create.
Uh-huh.
Now I tell them, if you're going to do pastries and baking, yes, recipes come into hand, but most of the stuff, no. I want you to learn the skills that you can take a knife up and not cut your fingers off. I want you to be able to saute properly and poach and boil and the basics of a cream soup, and go on along those types of things and learn that way. And then if you want to go into the industry, then you can take it another step. But if you can look after yourself and your loved one and your families, and in some way change. I was reading this thing that said, we have more books, we have more videos on food, we have TV programs on food, we have TV channels on food, and we cook less.
Mhm.
You know, if you go to, you guys will probably, you go to Safeway, our local store, and the amount of flour that you can buy is getting less and less and less and less. It used to be a big part of the whole shelf, and now it's down to about a 6 foot long shelf. But the mixes are expanding.
Yeah.
We need to get back to the basic, you know, and get those kids to learn.
Well, let me interject a question because they're starting to come in from the viewers now.
Oh, okay.
So one of them is how are the reactions from their parents? Are you getting feedback from the families?
I get emails all the time. I can't go out into the store without some parent coming to me and saying, my son, my daughter now cooks. They graduated high school, or they were in high school 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and they still cook. And then it's like, can I take your classes? But we get a lot of that. And one particular kid, this is a kid who, for some reason, it pops in because I get all the types of kids. I don't just have, or in culinary, I shouldn't be talking about me. It's culinary. And everybody out there is listening to this could do exactly what I'm doing. You get the whole gamut across from the kid at the top of the class that's going to be the next astronaut or whatever, to the kid who has a lot of difficulties, physical and all sorts of difficulties. And when you can take that kid and have them make a pizza, and they go and cook that pizza and in that oven, and then I take some pictures of it and I send it to their parents, and I get an email back, and the parent says, I'm crying because I'm as a chef and I'm trying to get my kid to be able to do this, and I'm trying to get, and he won't, and now he's in the kitchen and he's cooking with me.
Yeah.
And those special ed kids, I don't know. I could go on and on.
Yeah.
I'll start
I
crying.
see that it's an emotional thing because because you're touching lives and you're touching lives and families as well. They're responding. So, and that's, I think, what the question was really getting at is it's contagious when you're transforming lives. It's transforming, it's spreading out. I'm going to keep going with some questions that are connected to this thread we're on. You mentioned the garden. Are students involved in the gardening part too?
Yeah, we have a garden, which actually started off, it was supposed to be just a bed that we could put some herbs in. And I do have the problem of kind of doing things and then asking for forgiveness after. So the garden kind of grew.
We've all learned that trick. We know it's the best way to get things done.
And I have parents come in and we put this garden together. It's full of flowers and it's also full of veggies and herbs. And it's a place where kids can go. And if they need a little time out, if they're just feeling a little bit overwhelmed, the gates are always open to it and they can go in and they can sit and they can, from any part, art is put up on the fence around it. And we had a greenhouse which started to fall apart because it was just plastic and we get heavy winds. And while I'm here in Dublin, we're building another greenhouse. We just purchased a 20 by 30 foot greenhouse. And our next stage after that, when we get that up and running, will be like a freight farm. That's going to be our next thing.
Wow.
But the other thing is, we go back like to this pizza oven, this wood-fired oven. My budget for a year started at $2,000 for food, and that was kind of hard. That's why I moved my catering in. I said, I got to make money. How am I going to make money?
Yeah.
So now we have upwards of 200 kids a day out of a population of 720 kids, I think, go through culinary. They doubled my budget to 4,000, but we can bring in enough money from our catering to put money away. It costs about 24,000 a year to run the program, and we make that easily.
That's one of the questions that came through is what kind of profit are you making? What kind of revenues and how is it being used? So it sounds like it's all going back into the program.
Yeah, and you can do a little bit of math that if I do no catering, I don't have to do anything for about 2 years or 3 years. I have enough money to run the program.
Mm.
Now that's the money that we have put away, that the kids put away. But the oven brings in so much money, and our catering brings in. Science department, their dishwasher that they use for washing up some stuff broke down. To go and get a dishwasher means you got to go to the budget, you got to go blah, 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 it'll be next year. They need it tomorrow. So we buy it. It's the same kids.
Uh-huh.
My kids in my room are going to go to science.
Yeah.
If they need a dishwasher, we'll buy a dishwasher. We buy a refrigerator. The music department needed new mics. This came from the kids themselves. We were catering a fundraiser, and my kids came. The same kids. I shouldn't say my kids, but they come and they say, "Hey, chef, you think we could help them out? They're trying to get new mics. That's what they're raising money for." So I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And they said, "Can we not charge them for the food? And that means they'll make a little extra money." So I said, "Is that okay with you guys?" They say, "Yes." I said, "Okay." So then...
So you're also grooming philanthropists.
Yeah. Well, they come back and they say they still need a lot of money. Is there anything else we can do for them?
Yeah.
So I said, "Well, what do you mean? Can we buy them?" So how much is it going to be? They said $1,400. I said, is that what you want to do? Kids said, "Yes, let's do that." Okay, let's go and buy them. Of course, the new mics didn't fit the old soundboard, so that was $2,500. So, but somebody in town heard about that and they sent a check to us for the $2,500.
That's good. That's good.
But we do that on any. We just put in two big TVs in the library. We bought cameras when this pandemic down when people needed cameras and equipment and stuff. We have a great school district, but school districts move slow.
Yeah, of course.
It's the way it happens.
It's kind of like, when music departments have to raise money to get instruments for their students, they do fundraisers. Essentially you're doing an in-house fundraiser that's not supporting the rest of the school.
Yeah. So we, in culinary, we can make money. We can make money. So why not share it? We put enough away for ourselves. We have our stuff, and we do what we can to support them.
Well, I'm going to read one of the things, but it speaks to this very thing. This is our Vineyard Baker writes, this is one of the best presentations ever, not just about the quality of the video, but the message. Brilliant, inspiring, well done. And by the way, who manufactures the oven? So you mentioned where you got the oven from, and full disclosure, the ovens are manufactured by one of the symposium sponsors, which is how we got to know you, Frank. But you want to talk a little bit about FireWithin, and I think the oven itself is also from not one of our sponsors, but one of our friends, Forno Bravo.
So FireWithin, and in the video I talk about, it was in the back of my mind, the idea, and I had done some research and I came up with FireWithin. And I just couldn't make it happen with my little place that I had. And that's when I called them, and Ajay Dharma happened to answer the phone. And he was more excited about it than I was like, I think we could do this. And he's like, no, we got to make this happen because I think it's going to be a good thing. He wasn't saying it to be a good thing because he wanted to sell an oven. No, he wanted it because it clicked with him that this could be something good. So at the moment, I just did a search before here. I can't find any other high school in the country, in the US anyway, that has a mobile wood-fired oven. And I really think that if you have a culinary, you need one.
Well,
it has to be.
You may have created a model for this. In fact, you want to talk a little bit about what you're going to be doing with some of your students to bring them to actually see just so we say, FireWithin is headquartered in Denver, Colorado. So I'll pass the ball to you.
So Denver, Colorado is a little bit outside of Oregon, and it's a little bit outside of North Bend, Oregon. We live on the coast. We are not a very wealthy area. Okay, there's a lot of poverty. There's a lot of problems, and North Bend and Coos Bay are kind of stuck together. So this is what I want to do. I know we have plenty of kids who have never been outside the town. Our town's not very big; it's only 10,000 people, and the county is 65,000. They've never been to a city. They need their eyes opened. A lot of these kids are the ones that really have the issues. Okay, the frequent flyers, that's what we call them, frequently flying to the office. And I just click with them. I don't know, maybe I spent my time in the office too. So don't tell my mom that.
Yeah.
But, I want to take a bunch of kids, and we've talked to FireWithin about it. Pandemic messed this all up, and I wish that we weren't in it because the video would have shown more of the kids doing the stuff. And we had regulations that we couldn't just make it happen.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is to take a bunch of kids from North Bend to Denver, Colorado, with the oven, and like the movie Chef, we cook along the way.
You kind of do pop-ups.
Yes. And we'll probably have to camp because it'll be too expensive to stay in a hotel. But I would love, that's what my goal is in the next year to 2 years. We've got a couple of issues. One, obviously, it's going to cost a fortune, so that we'll have to make money. The second part is that the van or our truck, we bought our own truck. The maintenance guys at the school would not let us use any of their vehicles. And I'm the type, like most of you guys, we figure out things, okay? We can't use it. Oh, well, we can't do that. No, we'll do it and then figure it out after. So we bought our own truck. it was a secondhand truck. It's got 200 and something thousand miles on it, but we have it, you know, as long as we have the oven now. So it's going on 5 years, and you know, it tows the oven around. But we're going to get another truck or a van, and we'll have to take. I'll talk some other people into taking kids, and we will go and we will make it all the way to Denver, Colorado, and we will match it up with a wood-fired university, and we'll put those kids in there to that class.
Woodfire, just so for a second, Woodfire University is a program that FireWithin runs, an educational program to teach people how to use the ovens and how to run businesses with their mobile oven units. Okay.
And then we will get there, we'll do that, and then we'll drive back a different way.
Yeah.
So that they see and they get their eyes open. I was lucky enough to travel. I got to see Europe and stuff before I went to the States. I've traveled. And I think that that is very important, especially for kids who are in poverty, basically. They need to see what is outside. They need to see different cultures. They need to have their eyes open and their ears open. And they need to realize that that the world is their oyster. They don't have to have 4.0 whatever.
Yeah.
All they need to do is that they want it, and they need to see what's outside, because if they don't, they're just going to stay there.
Well, as many of us know, getting a road trip like that can be life-changing, especially for kids who have never even left their hometown. So that is an exciting proposition in its own right. By the way, one of our viewers, Kathy Lair, okay, by the way, was the winner of last week's spin the wheel thing that we have for. We gave the first prize. Kathy, just so you know, your knife is in the mail, and they told me it would arrive on Wednesday. So she won our first bread knife. And Kathy writes, there are many grants out there for teachers to apply for. I was able to get several thousand each year for projects I introduced. Investigate and you will find. And so I think, so if I think that if what you're doing is as contagious as I think it will be in a positive sense, and inspire others to, maybe set up programs like this, you need, obviously you need a willing school, you need the tools like a mobile oven, and you need somebody like yourself, somebody with a vision who's willing to work hard, because what you're doing, while it sounds fulfilling and fun for you, is also, I know, extremely hard work. As they said in the video, you're up at 4 or 5 in the morning, getting ready for the students. I mean, it's not easy to do what you've been doing. How many years has this program been going?
Well, I'll be going into my 10th year, and I think the oven will be, we're going towards 5 years.
So it took a few years even to get to the point where you could get the oven. But
the oven, as I said, it was a grant. It was a pathway funding grant that came through.
Yeah.
And it was we have how much money? Where did this money come from?
Yeah.
Now I understand it a bit more, but it's just every school needs it. What it does for those kids, it's the fire, it's the pizza, but it's the pat on the back from somebody, not a teacher, not their parents, because then their parents probably never did that. It's the pat on the back. Whether they're cutting the pizza, the first thing they have to do is cut the pizza. They can't do anything else. Just cut the pizza, put it in the box. They wear their jacket with Blazing Bulldogs on it.
Yeah.
And it starts there. And then when somebody says to them, this is fantastic pizza, they just smile. They never touch the dough.
Yeah.
But they smile, and now they want more.
Well, I think anyone who teaches culinary knows that we're the most joy you bring to your students is when you get to taste their food. They just love for you to taste their food.
Oh yeah.
And know that they did something that made you smile, and then suddenly their whole sense of self-worth and esteem just skyrockets.
Yeah. I just looked at my email there beforehand, and there's one kid has been emailing me. I'm here in Ireland. He's looking for a job around town, and I've been trying to find him one. He hated me when it started. When he first came to my class, he hated me. I told him to quit all the stuff that he was doing, and he didn't like me. And he was, and I just looked. He has sent me since June 15th or something, 50 emails, pictures of what he's cooked. He's doing better at home. His mom's giving him a little bit more freedom. He was able to go to the swimming pool. He never had to do it. So I'm like, yeah, look, that's all you have to do. Show that you are responsible. And he's like, okay, chef.
Well, Chef, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna continue this conversation over in our less formal VIP lounge because we're running out of time in this hour. One of the questions that came in, I'd love to pick it up when we rejoin again from Kathy, is can you talk a bit about the curriculum for the school year? For instance, when does the oven come in for the students in your class? Is it after the basics are learned? And a little bit more about how the program unfolds.
It goes in almost day one.
They get it. Okay. Well, let's explore that when we come back. So this is what we're going to do. First of all, again, thank you for those who aren't going to be able to join us in the VIP lounge. Thank you for coming for this session. And for those who are, we're going to take about a 3-minute break so you can migrate over to that lounge. We're going to log out of the webinar and log back in for the VIP lounge. So a chance for you to stretch your legs, take a comfort break if needed. But we'll rejoin in just 3 or 4 minutes. Those of you who also are watching, and if you would like to be eligible to win one of our prizes, I've got another knife that will be the next one. Next month, we'll do another drawing and basically spin the wheel. Go visit the sponsor booths. FireWithin is one of our sponsors. Visit the booth, sign their guest book. Just all you have to do, you don't have to buy an oven. Just sign their guest book and let them know that you were visiting. And if you, in order to be eligible for the next spin, you need to have signed at least 5 guest books. So go there. It's not only is it painless, but you get some great information in each of the booths, and they've got their own videos and PDFs to give away and things like that. So we'll do another drawing in a few weeks, but let's take a break now. Chef, any final words before we break?
Somebody asked if we had building trades. Yes, we have a fantastic program in building trades that we just started 2, 3. This is going into its 3rd year, and it is awesome. So
the school has other vocational training programs there.
They believe in CTE.
Yeah, I think that
put up with me.
It is a lifeline for so many people.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Chef, thank you again for this, and thank all of you for joining us for today's presentation and learning all about the Blazing Bulldog. And we'll continue the conversation in the VIP lounge in 3 minutes. See you soon. Thank you to our team behind the scenes. Our event technical and production partners, Ganoid Communications, including our producer, Gurmit Singh, and his team, Jita Gajaria, Gagandeep Singh, and Jaydev Kashari. Thanks also to Ted Nelson and Lael Fretzel of our creative and marketing team at Gumbo Marketing, and the many folks at Johnson & Wales University who supported me throughout this event. My executive assistant, Sarah Standifer, Communications Director, Melinda Law, Chancellor, Mim Rooney, Charlotte Campus President, Cheryl Richards, and our executive team leaders, deans and faculty, Maureen Dumas, Michael Schrader, Michelle Nicholas, Mark Norman, Brent Steyerwalt, Laurie Heimbach, Jerry Lanuza, Amy Felder, Harry Paymiller, Richard Miskovich, and many, many others. Thank you all.